There was only one chip.
One? Are you sure?
Yes. They called it the Pillar of Autumn.
Halo 2's greatest strength is its fleshing out of the Covenant. Instead of just being weird alien bad guys, we were shown right from the start that these aliens really aren't too much different from us. And as controversial playing half the game as Arbiter may have been at the time, it was 100% the right call, as the story surrounding Chief is really just Halo 1 with some embellishment.
It fled as we set fire to their planet.
For normies like me that suck at reading books, even more hype and build up for what happened on Reach.
When you first saw Halo, were you blinded by its majesty?
Blinded?
Paralyzed? Dumbstruck?
No.
Arbiter is walking right into the classic trap parents lay for their kids.
I will continue my campaign against the humans.
It can be hard to empathize and relate to a creature that looks so, well, alien to us, but the scripting alone with Keith David's performance makes connecting with Arbiter so effortless. Not to mention that David's voice is like hot butter. He could be reading the dictionary and I'd be salivating at his every word. Even though I fell in love with Arbiter way more than I anticipated, nothing can take away from the badassery that Chief commands in every scene he's in. Like, he's just putting on his helmet and I'm already at quarter chub.
Tell that to the Covenant.
And on that note, Steve Downes' Master Chief will forever be the sexiest voice in gaming. And yes, this will be a recurring win in every Halo video. I know the anniversary editions are very controversial. I mean, just go look at the comment section on my Halo Combat Evolved video. But I still love them. We get the best of both worlds since the OG version is just a button press away. And I still stand by my opinion that 343 did an amazing job on these graphical remasters. I played a bit of Halo 2 as a kid, and these new graphics are how I remember playing that game back when I was 10. And speaking of remastering, what the f*** was Blur Studios smoking when they remastered the Halo 2 cutscenes? Like, holy shit. These are immaculate and just incredible at every turn.
You told me there wouldn't be any cameras.
And you told me you were gonna wear something nice.
You're telling me his armor isn't the nicest thing you've ever seen? Like, come on. I couldn't find anything, but I'm sure someone somewhere has been married wearing some Master Chief cosplay.
If they came to hear me beg, they will be disappointed.
To create a character that could match Master Chief was no easy task, but Bungie killed it in creating Arbiter. He really is just the Covenant's Master Chief by the end of the game.
You look nice.
I'll forever love their dynamic. Johnson don't know what he's talking about.
Thank you.
Not often do we get to see much personality past stalwart badass in chief. But this quick look at Johnson is gold. That's his girl, Jay.
Sergeant Major, the Colonial Cross is awarded for acts of singular daring and devotion. For a soldier of the United Earth Space Corps.
There can be no greater heresy.
This cross-cutting between Chief being awarded and Arbiter being punished is nothing short of brilliant. It leads us to sympathize with Arbiter and continues to let us in on the societal and religious aspects of the Covenant. When we blew up Halo, we were like, woo, we won. But now I can't help but feel that would cost. I love Arbiter. Leave me alone.
Show me.
15 Covenant capital ships holding position just outside the kill zone.
And Jen Taylor, got it right this time, is just the best. I love her playing the fine line of AI and uploaded consciousness of a human. Some lines like, the promise he can't keep at the end are sheer, jerkingly human. And others are flat like an AI would be. And also, Halo 2 starts the trend of Cortana getting thicker with each game, so there's that.
Form a defensive perimeter around the cluster. Commander, get to your ship. Link up with the fleet.
Yes, sir.
And Blur continues to impress on not just the stunning fidelity they achieved with these cutscenes, but also the cinematography. Too many shots left me in awe.
Defend this station.
Yes, sir. I need a weapon.
Oh, Chief only has around 15 lines in 2, but every single one is quotable and badass. Halo 2 actually only exists so they could add dual wielding into the game, and you cannot change my mind on that. I mean, just look at the cover of the game box.
A bomb.
Then they sure as hell brought one here. Chief, find it.
Oh, how nice it must be to have someone like Chief on your side. You see one of your ships get blown to bits, but you can rest easy because all you gotta do is summon Chief and you win.
Just so you know, there are quite a few elites guarding the bomb. You may need to get creative.
I mean, you saw Chief's idea of creative at the end of Combat Evolved. Something tells me it won't be much different here.
Me, inside your head, now.
Say no more.
How much time was left?
You don't want to know.
Just a little continuity about not letting the Covenant get a hold of an AI like Cortana. They were already cut it close, but worth the extra few moments to safeguard her, just in case.
Sir, permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
I know his armor is part of his thickness, but I mean, come on. Chief's looking snatched.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
Am I going to win everything that comes out of his mouth? Yes. Yes, I will. I'll always be a fan of the camera zoom technique to emphasize scale. No better time to take everything away and let Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore's Halo theme speak for itself as Chief does one of his many badass tricks. And to think this melody was thought up during a car ride to the studio during the insane crunch of the first game. Sometimes inspiration hits at the strangest times.
For a brick, he flew pretty good.
Chief, get inside.
Not even surprised that Chief survived a move like that. It's really just another Tuesday for 117. Kill me in the comments, I dare you.
A prophet. He's on that carrier, and he's calling for help.
And there's the only help he's gonna get.
Look out!
See the environment? It's little things like this that made Halo 2 so monumental when it came out. Even in modern FPSs, we don't have environments that interact with our actions sometimes. The score for Combat Evolved was already one of the best to ever grace gaming, and then Halo pulled a SpongeBob and said,
"You wanna see me do it again?"
Now you might be wondering, why isn't he talking about the tumultuous development process of Halo 2 and all the behind-the-scenes stuff that went down? One, because I'm not the friggin' History Channel, and two, with this channel, I like to meet halfway between the average gamer and the diehards.
But to guide you back to the true path, I brought this motivational device.
And just like Chief, almost everything Johnson says is gold.
We've all run the simulations. They're tough, but they ain't invincible.
Just like the simulation.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
And the men too. People always say the da-da-da-da is when the hype train starts in Halo. But let me argue that it's a little bit sooner than that. The progression leading into the theme is just as hype. But there's no replacing how hype the Halo battle theme is. I've had countless nights playing other games with this in the background just to hype up my gameplay. And it really does get more Halo than marching across this bridge in the Scorpion destroying everything in your path to this music. Has this mission been nothing other than me gushing about mopping up Covenant to dope-ass music? Nope. And can you blame me? It's like this mission took the main battle theme and just kept taking more and more steps to make it more and more badass, with the crescendo of mounting a scarab. But coming back to reality, we had amazingly large environments in Combat Evolved, but Halo 2 decided to show off even more by having us drive all around Metropolis, with soldiers, vehicles, and air targets. And don't forget, this all ran on the original Xbox. Bungie's ambition might have gotten the best of them when it comes to the amount of story in Halo 2, but that's inconsequential when you've got all this groundbreaking gameplay to back it up. And we get to actually use the energy sword, the true original Commando.
What about us? My belly aches, and his flesh is seared just the way I like it. Quiet! They are not for eating. Release the prisoner.
Release the Kraken.
That's basically what's happening here.
The taming of the Hunters, the Grunt Rebellion. Were it not for the Arbiters, the Covenant would have broken long ago.
In 2 lines, there are decades of lore splayed out for the normies that don't go digging for lore.
Even on my knees, I do not belong in their presence.
And that line just seals how sacred the position of the Arbiter is. It also shows Vadam's mind in light of his failure in conjunction with his devout nature to the Covenant. He recognizes and accepts his fate as he failed, and is so crushed that not even on his knees in his mind is he enough to honor the past Arbiters. Which makes his arc so freaking satisfying to watch, as he literally can't get any lower than this. With that said, Vadam is the best character in Halo 2, as he truly is the only one with an arc that can and has resonated with a lot of people. And what the f***? An FPS video game about aliens in the future has no reason having dialogue this tight. Not a single line surrounding Vadam is wasted.
Halo's destruction was your error, and you rightly bear the blame. But the Council was overzealous.
Oh, the irony of truth calling the Council overzealous.
This is the true face of heresy, one who would subvert our faith and incite rebellion against the High Council.
And let me see how smart Truth is, preying on Vadam's vulnerability and need to prove himself after his failure to create possibly the most powerful Arbiter ever. It's a chef's kiss in manipulation. And how serendipitous that Truth anointing Vadam as the Arbiter ushers in the fall of the Covenant. Or at least, steps towards it, I believe. Don't yell at me. I'm writing these as I play through the series. You know I love me some center framing. And if you're going to create a foil for Chief, he's got to have some badass armor of his own, right?
The tasks you must undertake as the Arbiter are perilous, suicidal. You will die, as each Arbiter has before you. The Council will have their corpse.
Death! By exile.
Same energy, right? It is insane the amount of emotion Blur is able to imbue on a character so alien. And the music doesn't discriminate that he is the bad guy. This music could have been haunting, scary, and evil sounding to forebode a coming tide against the humans, but it's uplifting and somewhat heroic, continuing their plan to make us fall in love and root for Arbiter.
They use our Lord's creations to broadcast their lives.
Though the terminals and lore suggest that grunts are much more than the silly, stupid cannon fodder, it doesn't take away from them being, well, silly and hilariously cute.
We shall grind them into dust.
Notice that Arbiter isn't reciting this prayer alongside the other elites.
These are my elites. Their lives matter to me, yours does not.
Don't care if I'm harping how much legwork 2 does to humanize the Covenant, because I love every minute of it. I was constantly more interested in the Arbiter side of the story than Chief's.
Their lives matter to me, yours does not. That makes 2 of us.
And you can't go toe-to-toe with Chief unless you also have badass one-liners.
That makes 2 of us.
Vadim is a little impressed by Vadim. They're talking shit at each other, but it reads more like mutual respect. Now, Arbiter wasn't marketed as a playable character, and this led to a boohoo about false advertising, but like, you can't lay all your cards out on the table, right? Keeping Arbiter a secret was the best move Bungie could have made.
Your armor system is not as new as ours. Your camouflage will not last forever.
A diegetic reason to limit exploiting the camo, and if I'm to reach, which we all know I will, it's probably because the Arbiter armor is so coveted they refuse to upgrade and update it to keep in line with religious practices, or whatever you want to call it. I was still adjusting to such music being used alongside the Covenant, as I expected the music to be more, I don't know, evil, bad guy, alien. But like I mentioned a moment ago, the music is directly informing how we should be viewing Arbiter's crusade. Follow in Flight is beautiful and badass. We're flying in free open air and are soon to learn the truth behind Halo and the Prophets and be free from them, and this track just oozes that feeling. Though the opening of the track feels freeing, let's not forget how badass that drop is. It's like the track is chronicling Arbiter's arc in this game. I could play this whole track and label movements and the music that would perfectly match up with the revelations Arbiter has, but I'll spare you, as I know time is valuable. 100% a reference to the last mission of Combat Evolved when Chief told Cortana, "We'll make it."
The Oracle.
Hello, I am 343 Guilty Spark.
I can't help but feel elated and angry at seeing Guilty Spark. He's such a little shithead, but I love him. He's like a cat.
The elites are blind, Arbiter, but I will make them.
Irony? Juxtaposition? I don't know what to call it. So, it's cool that Rafumi is trying to help the elites see and uses fake projections of himself to fight those he's trying to save.
Unfortunate. His edification was most enjoyable.
Edification, the instruction or improvement of a being morally or intellectually. The more you know.
Cortana, what exactly am I looking at?
That is another Halo.
Say what?
Johnson speaking for the entire player base.
Say what?
So this is what my father found. I thought Halo was some sort of super weapon.
And you can't reveal another Halo without the theme playing, can you? Looks like the UNSC wised up and decided to not ship Chief in a locked dropship with Marines. If you know, you know.
Could we possibly make any more noise?
Yep.
Wait, go.
Huh. The Halo theme is used diegetically as some sort of religious sermon about the righteousness Halo might bring them.
I'll secure the index, Chief. You take out the Prophet.
Thank God they didn't make us go through the library again.
3 Prophet hierarchs. Killing Regret should shake up the Covenant leadership. But frankly, it sounds like you might be doing Truth a favor.
Not so subtle hints to Truth wanting to amass soul power. Bungie was so happy they got vehicle jacking working, they formed a whole boss fight around the idea.
The demon is here? Why? Looking for a little payback? Retrieving the icon is my only concern.
This is why everyone loves Arbiter. Only concerned with the mission and not letting his ego entangle his goals. These slides remind anyone else of this? It's always nice to see commanders get their hands dirty.
Gotcha.
Johnson to the rescue. And he is such a badass, able to go toe-to-toe for at least a moment with basically Master Chief.
How you doing?
And of course, he's got to get his one-liner in.
They ordered me to do it.
Betrayal.
Oh, we finally get the two in the same room together.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Temporary truce.
This one is but flesh and faith, and is the more deluded.
Now that is a scary antagonist, able to realize something about our heroes before they even know it.
Now I shall talk, and you shall listen.
Greetings.
I love how unapologetically ignorant of circumstance Halo monitors can be.
There is still time to stop the key from turning.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend? Did I put enough enemies in there? The most unlikely alliance, and I'm here for it.
Fate hath us meet as foes, but this ring will make us brothers.
The Gravemind is just completely awesome. This dialogue is so cool, and for the Flood to actually have a leader completely changes the game for their place in the story. It amps up their threat, and the mystery surrounding him upped the anticipation for 3 even more. And the fact that the Gravemind is basically all victims of the Flood combined into one sentient hive mind makes him horrifying. So much collective knowledge that can be used against its enemies.
And nothing, not even the Flood, can stop it,
he says as Chief enters the room.
Boo.
It's pretty neat that Chief starts this fight in the same room that we meet Arbiter, and he finishes it in the mausoleum of the Arbiter, nailing in the coffin that these two men are one and the same.
Let him be.
The final step of Truth's plan finally coming to fruition, even if the plan wasn't exactly shaken out the way he intended it, but that's fine. I love that right away Arbiter has to see this betrayal beyond just him. Walking around with this haunting score really cements the weight of this in the player and Arbiter's mind. Smells heresy in the distance.
He can activate the ring.
If he does, I'll detonate in Emberclad's reactor just like we did the Autumn's. The blast will destroy this city and the ring. Not a very original plan, but we know it'll work.
At least Bungie recognized that fact.
After I'm through with Truth.
Don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it.
Why am I feeling so much for an AI and a man created for battle? I guess it's because these two only exist for the same purpose and all they really have. Also, Jen Taylor's delivery kills me every time. And this was basically supposed to be either the midpoint or the end of Act 2 for Halo 2. But because of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, they couldn't finish it in one game. More on that in a second.
Come on, grab a bench and give me some cover. Gonna know what's coming.
Oh, hell yeah. A team up I did not see coming, and I'm here for it.
One more word, Oracle, and I'll rip your eye from its socket.
With their looks, kind of reminds me of Borderlands 2 with Claptrap and Knuckle Dragger.
And disobey the Hierarchs? There are things about Halo even the Hierarchs do not understand.
How freaking cool that Bungie stuck to their guns about basically Arbiter being the main character in their sequel when everyone expected to play as Chief in the entire game. Having the final mission take place between these two was a big risk, even if it was somewhat forced by the development process.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Tartarus, the prophets have betrayed us.
Arbiter's trying to reach out to Tartarus instead of just killing him right away is another check on the long list on why Arbiter is my favorite character in Halo so far.
No, Arbiter! The great journey has begun.
And I love the theme that permeates the entire Covenant story with using religion as a tool to control others, being fed this lie about the great journey and what it will bring to those who follow it. Arbiter once was in the same place as Tartarus, and it may seem ridiculous that Tartarus wouldn't listen, but in all reality, that's real. Imagine going your entire life believing something so deep in your bones, and right as you're about to do the one thing that truly matters, you're told it's all baloney. It's most likely coming from a place of denial, and it's just too much to handle, so might as well just finish what you started so long ago in hopes that it's real. hoping that through your faith, you'll be rewarded. My favorite thing about Arbiter's arc is that I've read accounts of people who have been raised religious their entire lives, and this game opened their eyes to think for themselves, not just follow blindly what they've been taught. And this isn't to discount religion, but to remind people that it's always your choice to be devout or not, and nothing and no one should influence that decision.
What's that?
A beacon.
Johnson was riding Guilty Spark.
Why the Ark? Of course.
And where, Oracle, is that?
Check out that shot. These three all standing in solidarity.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
They could have ended it there and had all of us on the hook for 3. I don't even care if it ended on a cliffhanger because that's just how things in life shake out sometimes.
I will ask, and you will answer.
All right. Shoot.
But that is the real cliffhanger. Remember how the Covenant getting a hold of Cortana was like the worst thing that could ever happen? And now we're being led to believe that the Gravemind might have Cortana as well, and that basically makes him unstoppable, and all we can do is wait and hope that she knows what she's doing. If you're playing this back in 2004. I can go straight to 3. Sure, maybe this cliffhanger was born out of development and limitations, but that doesn't take away that we still got a complete story and arc surrounding the Arbiter and the Covenant. For having to cut their game in 2, I'm amazed how well this ending actually does work. Did we want a conclusion between Cortana and Chief? Of course. Did we have to wait 3 years to get it? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we still got it, and that's what we remember today. A sequel should always add on to the world, story, or characters in meaningful ways. Not every side of Halo got those embellishments with 2, namely Chief, since there was a lot of stuff to unpack with Arbiter, but I really enjoyed seeing the Covenant be more than just alien bad guys and have the lore expanded for those that don't go out of the way to read the books or any other outside media. It's 100% the 2 towers of the Halo trilogy, and that might be the biggest compliment I can give the game. This was a shorter one, as I believe all the stuff I wanted to talk about or wish I could understand more will be answered and talked about in 3, so make sure you subscribe when that video drops next week. I apologize if I didn't talk more about Halo 2 in the context of its release back in 2004, and I mainly didn't because there are so many other videos already on YouTube that you can watch chronicling that, and I'd rather not be just an echo chamber on this channel. So, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and my little take on the game, and I'll leave a link down below if you're interested in those videos. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. So, remember, drive the speed limit, drink some water, and love one another. Pizza!